Most of the movies nowadays are shot with the anamorphic lenses, and previously mobile anamorphic lenses for smartphones were so-so, but recently Freewell did put out a third generation of their Freewell Cinemorphic lenses, and they're much better, so let's take a closer look. What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin and you're watching No Limits on channel. Happy New Year everybody, this is the first video on my channel in 2025 and I wish you all the best in this year. So what is an anamorphic lens and what it does? Basically it squishes the image and you need to de-squeeze it in post or in camera if you're using Blackmagic camera app, which can de-squeeze your image properly. It'll add a little bit of wideness to your image. So for example, your 24mm full frame equivalent 1x camera will become wider horizontally, but it'll keep the focal length vertically. And this will result in a wider aspect ratio, which you usually see in movies. As I said, there are two main squeeze factors for smartphone anamorphic lenses, 133x and 155x. So if you put a 133x lens to your smartphone, after the squeeze it will have 235:1 aspect ratio, a very popular aspect ratio in movies. And in focal length it will have an equivalent of about 18mm horizontally, but it'll keep the 24mm vertically. And if you put on a 1.55x anamorphic lens to a 16:9 sensor, which we use in our smartphones in video modes, you'll have an aspect ratio of 2.76:1, even more narrow aspect ratio, and in focal length, in full frame equivalent, you'll have about 15.4mm, which is very wide. But vertically, you'll still be having an equivalent of a 24mm lens. And here is the field of view comparison between 1.33x and 1.55x versions, and you see that we gain some extra width on the sides with the 1.55x lens. One of the most important characteristics of an anamorphic lens is the flare, the anamorphic flare, the wide flare of anamorphic lenses. And in Freewell Cinemorphic lenses we have two options, the blue flares and the golden flares. The blue flares is more traditional for sci-fi movies like Michael Bay style, and the golden flares are more like vintagey looking. But also Freewell is making the neutral flare. It is in development process, but it'll have the color of the light source. If it is red, the flare will become red. If it's green, it'll be green, etc. And guys, by the way, you can use those lenses with the iPhones from 13 and 13 Pro and up to 16, 16 Pro, Pro Max, or with Samsung Galaxy S23 and S24 Ultra. And guys, you have to use the 17mm lens mount, which is very popular. You can use the Freewell Genius Rig cage with 17mm mount installed, or the Freewell case with 17mm mount, or any other 17mm mount case or cage. And keep in mind guys that you have to use your 1x camera with those lenses, the best image quality, the biggest sensor of your 1x camera lens. You can technically use the 2x camera, but you'll have a digital crop and the image quality wouldn't be as good. To properly view your image and to see the de-squeezed image already, I do recommend using the Blackmagic camera app, which is free both for Android and for iOS devices. Then you go into the settings, camera, and then you pick the de-squeeze ratio of 1.33x or 1.55x. And you'll see the image properly and you don't have to de-squeeze it in post because the file will be already de-squeezed. And guys, there is one more very important nuance when using an anamorphic lens with the screw-on mount like I'm using right here. You have to place your phone horizontally, you have to level it up. For this you can use the electronic spirit level in your Blackmagic camera app, and then you have to adjust the lens because you see the rotating barrel right here and you have a spirit level, and you should place it in the middle, and this will give you the proper image. And if you don't do this, you have a distorted image which is not usable, so keep that in mind guys. Also guys, there is a nuance of stabilizing an anamorphic lens, and it applies to all the anamorphic lenses for mirrorless cameras, for cinema cameras, or for smartphone cameras. The best way to stabilize those is to turn off the stabilization in your camera completely and to use a 3-axis gimbal or a tripod or a monopod or a slider. But if you don't have this option, I do recommend you setting the maximum stabilization in camera, like the extreme stabilization in Blackmagic camera app, like I was doing in my trips, and using your best and the most stable way of holding your phone, like super steady, like almost a tripod-like, and doing some very gentle and very slight movements like this, and afterwards stabilizing it additionally in post, and you'll get a decent result. But don't use your lenses in a very active and action-like ways, because you have a very distorted image and non-usable image as well. Also guys, keep in mind that the golden flare version has a little cooler white balance, and occasionally I had to use up to 10,000 Kelvin manually in my Blackmagic camera app. This is made to compensate for the golden flares, and that is why the lens is a bit cooler. One more great benefit of those Freewell lenses is that you have a 58mm filter thread and you can use any filters from your existing lenses for your camera lenses basically. You can use like variable ND filters, CPL filters, or even mist filters for the best creative options. Also guys, each lens comes with this leather-like case which is padded, a very nice case to have, and also we have a metallic front cap and the back cap, and they attach to each other magnetically so you don't lose any of those. And guys, keep in mind that the anamorphic lenses are designed to be used horizontally. Your sensor should be placed horizontally. If you put it vertically, you'll have a super distorted image. In terms of flares quality, I really do like that they're not overwhelming and not in your face, especially on the blue version. The golden version, as for now, does have a bit more of the flares, and Freewell did promise me to reduce the amount of flares in their production units. This is a pre-production unit, of course, and all in all, it's very hard to have not in your face flares with this tiny sensors like in your smartphone and with this tiny optics, so good job. One more very important characteristic of an anamorphic lens is the distortion, and most filmmakers do prefer the barrel distortion of an anamorphic lens, and they do love softer corners of the anamorphic lenses. And those lenses, and especially the 1.55x lens from Freewell, it does provide you with softer corners, and I really love the look of those, and also a lot of barrel distortion. If you think that it is too much in terms of barrel distortion, you can easily fix it in post with a free plugin in Final Cut or in DaVinci Resolve, for example. The image quality and the look you get is simply amazing. Just look at the footage I captured in different parts of the world. It doesn't look plasticky, super digital and smartphone-like. To my eye, it really has some cinematic vibes. So what do you think, guys? Please let me know down in the comment section below. To conclude, guys, in my opinion, this is the best iteration of the anamorphic lenses for smartphones, and I've used a ton of different ones throughout my career of being a YouTuber. So guys, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as I said, and here I have another video for you to watch, the Freewell lenses, not anamorphic only, but another ones as well, Sharper 2.0. And if you did enjoy this video, smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notifications bell, and I'm gonna see you in the next video, guys. Take care, bye.